You listened to him on the KVJ show for years. Every time he tried to talk sports, he'd get shut down. After years of begging, we finally gave in. Brought to you by Bremen Motor Cars and by Wellington Anti-Aging. It's Kevin's Other Show on 640 The Hurricane.
We've got a ton of good stuff. Going to get to today. Lots of football, as you might expect. There's actually football action going on tonight, Diener.
There is.
Yeah, I mean, there's football, whatever you want, man. You got pro, college, high school. It's all going down tonight.
Oh, that's the best time of year. I love it.
Oh, it's so good. Some of it actually means something. Some of it. Actually, the only thing it means anything is high school. But still, we'll get to that. It's actually a really great high school game tonight in South Florida that you got to know about. So we're going to get to that coming up. The Marlins, their new gimmick to try to get you into Marlins Park. It's good stuff.
Okay.
We'll get to all that coming up here today. Well, the big football action going on. If you're a fan of Big Brother on CBS, you're pissed. But the Dolphins are going to be on playing a meaningless game against the Falcons tonight, and all South Florida CBS local affiliates are not going to be carrying Big Brother.
It's so annoying because I love this show.
Yeah.
I do. Little known fact, I actually tried out for the show.
You tried out for Big Brother?
I did.
Diener, really?
I did, yes. And, well, obviously I'm sitting here right now, so it didn't
go
work
well.
out now.
It didn't go well. Dude, you got to bring drama. You got to be like a dysfunctional mess. Like, I don't know if anybody has it more together than you.
I tried.
What do you bring? I mean, no offense, but what is it? What is it
that's
you
a
bring?
compliment. I tried to kind of position myself as like the everyday guy with a level head that could go in there sneaky like and kind of play everybody, and they would never expect it because I'm the nice, unassuming guy.
You're the quiet little rat.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
That's your thing. They weren't buying it.
No,
huh?
they weren't buying it.
They didn't see it. Okay. Well, if you got like the Xfinity, you can check it out. I think there is like the network feed. There's places, maybe the app you can check out if you're a Big Brother guy and you got to check it out. It is going to be on other places. Dolphins game tonight. Are you going to watch any of it? Do you care?
I'm going to watch the first quarter at least, just because, if nothing else, for the backup quarterback situation. I want to see who plays worse. Now, who plays better? Who plays worse?
I think that's probably the only reason to watch. That is the big headline. You're not going to see any of the starters really tonight that's going to be going on. You got a few guys that you might care about. Is it going to be Fales? Is it going to be Osweiler? You get the feeling likely one of those two guys is going to get cut. You feel like it might be Osweiler because even though he's got a better quarterback rating in the preseason, he costs a little bit more money. He also is losing what they say is going to be the big determinant. Apparently, some of the Miami coaches have said, well, the quarterback who leads the Dolphins to the most scoring drives is going to win the battle. Fales is only up 1-0.
Come on. That's terrible.
It's really bad.
It's pathetic.
I mean, you're choosing between the ultimate of awful, but, Gase is saying that, hey, the backup for Tannehill is currently on Miami's roster.
Okay.
That's what he says. So then that's what the headline is of this game is tonight. Do you want Fales? Do you want Osweiler? Osweiler always gets stuck up in the check downs. That's pretty much what he does. Fales is a little bit more of a gunslinger. I know you like Fales better than Osweiler.
Yeah. I made that pretty known on the show so far. Hashtag cut Osweiler.
So that's your compare and contrast. That's probably the big thing you're going to be looking for tonight. Miami's got basically a dozen or so open spots for the 53-man roster they're looking at. They got 10 spots for the practice squad. So that's kind of what they're looking at. The only points of interest, maybe you might see like a Minkah Fitzpatrick actually playing free safety rather than nickel cornerback where he's probably going to start. So you get a look at him in that position, which you probably won't much in the regular season.
Yeah, I'd like to actually see that because that's kind of what they drafted him more for, was to be that, versatile defensive back type of guy. And so far, they've only put him in that nickel corner spot out of necessity because they don't have everybody else.
So if you want to see that, then you got to watch tonight.
Okay.
That's the only other reason why you watch tonight.
Can we talk about Big Brother instead? I'd rather do that.
That's really about all you got. I mean, so if I could see why they're so pissed. I mean, tonight, apparently tonight's a Big Brother episode that you got to watch. It's some kind of elimination.
Oh, man, the jury battle back.
So it's actually a big episode of Big Brother, and it's not a big football game for the Dolphins.
That's right.
But yet, you're going to see the Dolphins.
That's right.
They got some of the over-unders out. You can break them down. The win over-under right now is not great for the Dolphins. 6.5 is what Vegas has got them at.
Disrespectful.
Tannehill, they got him for 3,800 total passing yards.
Okay.
21.5 TDs. And 13.5 interceptions. You taking that? If he could do that, do you like those numbers?
I'm going over on the passing yards. He's thrown for 4,000 passing yards before, so
Okay.
I don't see why I can't do it again, especially now he's actually in Adam Gase's offense and has a chance to really perform in this, regardless of the first year and what happened there.
21-13 ratio on the picks.
I'm going to go
touchdowns.
13 sounds more like a push to me. I mean, I would go slightly under, like 11, but I do go over on the touchdowns.
Okay.
Like maybe like 25 touchdowns?
Okay.
Yeah, right? Not bad.
Those numbers you definitely would take.
Yes, I would. Am
25
I being way
touchdowns,
too
11
optimistic?
picks. I mean, that's a great year for Tannehill.
It is.
Kenyon Drake, 800 rushing yards, 6.5 touchdowns.
Oh, that's low.
That does seem low, doesn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
you're talking about a guy that led the NFL in rushing, the last 4 or 5 games of the
Right.
regular season last year?
Yeah, that's super low. For a lead running back, he should have over 1,000 yards, or at least right at 1,000.
Right, easily.
You would think so.
To me, you would like 1,200, 1,400, right? Be like, okay.
Yeah, I would say more along the lines of like 1,100 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not exactly the 1980s, Redskins offensive line, but he can still
I
run.
mean, if he's on pace, and I don't know if you had it all together, the last 5 games, and okay, let's say you gave that and he stayed healthy for a 16-game season.
Right.
It's going to totally blow away 800 yards.
Yeah, and of course, all these, projections are
It's a
based
big
on
if.
they stay
Yeah.
healthy,
It is a big if.
She should be able to go over that quite
So
easily.
you think they've lowballed Kenyon Drake?
I think so.
Devontae Parker, they got at 725 receiving yards and 4.5 touchdowns.
Under on the yards. Touchdowns, man. I might go under on that too. I don't see this guy being anything productive for this team. I just don't.
Yeah, you don't have any love.
No, I really don't. I mean, from what I've seen over the past few years, he's been nothing but disappointment.
How upset are you if you wind up with Osweiler as your quarterback and Devontae Parker as your primary receiver?
I will be then watching college football even more to figure out who the Dolphins will draft in one of their top 2 positions. That's what would happen.
Danny Amendola, they got 650 receiving yards, 3.5 touchdowns.
That's a tough number for him. I actually go over on the touchdowns because this is the type of guy, you saw it last week in the game against Baltimore. He is built for 15 yards away from the end zone.
Yeah, but he's kind of one of those guys. He was pretty ghost, right, for the Patriots last year until like the playoffs, and then he started grabbing some. Like, I don't think his numbers regular season were that good for touchdowns.
I think he was kind of hampered by injury, though, last year, too,
Okay.
with the Patriots.
So
plus you have Edelman, you have Gronk.
Yeah.
On that team. So, yeah, I go over 3.5. The reception yards is a little bit tougher, but...
You're doing a pretty good job spitting out the excuses.
You see? Not reasoning, excuses, yes. I like how you made the difference there.
Okay.
Trying.
So a couple reasons to check it out. A guy, oddly enough, that just came up for us the other day because we were talking to Roger Harriet, head coach of St. Thomas Aquinas, the other day. And there was, we're kind of going down through the roster and just, checking some people out. I saw the name Doomerville, and I'm like going, wait, I mean, that's one of those names. I'm like, well, he's got to be related to Elvis, right? And so we started talking about Elvis Doomerville, like where has he been, what's going on? And you see Elvis Doomerville just retired.
It's like he heard us talking about him.
Yeah, so odd. I'm like, I haven't really talked much about him. He's a guy from Miami, went to Miami-Jackson High School, then went to Louisville for college. It's his nephew.
Ah, okay. So he's the one who plays on Aquinas.
Yeah, he's actually, I was looking into him. He's a big recruit. He's like a 4 or 5 star. My Ohio State Buckeyes are recruiting him. So
of course they are.
Yeah, I mean, they love Aquinas,
Yeah,
man.
they do.
They already got the safety already locked up.
And the Bosa brothers, I mean, come on.
Yeah, Nick and Joey are both. They
Enough.
had Trevon Grimes, who was the 5-star wide receiver that now has transferred to Florida. He's a Gator.
Tell him to go away.
See him.
Tell them to stop taking our guys.
They camp right out at Aquinas, man. The
do.
Buckeyes are right there at the front door.
So annoying.
Yeah, Elvis Doomerville, 105.5 sacks over a 12-year NFL career.
Wow.
Not bad. Pretty good numbers. He had 5-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All-Pro selection, and he led the NFL with 17 sacks in 2009.
Wow, I forgot he was that good. I knew he had a good career. I forgot he was that good, though.
Pretty solid, yeah. He was drafted by the Broncos in 2006, then was with the Ravens and 49ers in 2017. 34 years old, but I guess he's got his own real estate business in Miami.
Well, that works.
Yeah. So he's just like, he dialed in like 12 years and said, okay, I'm good.
He's
So,
done. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember him on the Ravens. That's where I kind of remember him the most. And
Okay.
those were some solid defenses, man, with him and Suggs and Ray Lewis.
Right.
Forget it.
Dang, they were nasty.
Nada. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. Now you can buy a house from him right here in South Florida.
Perfect.
Coming up here, what is the most college fun that you can get when you're watching TV and checking out a game? Who do you want to watch the most? ESPN did a poll. They got a couple Florida teams in there in their top 10 of the most fun teams to watch in college football. We break it down for you coming up next.
Be part of the show on Twitter at 640 The Hurricane, hashtag Kevin's Other Show.
You got a couple fun teams to check out. I mean, there's a few that I'm really interested in seeing here this year. Just talking state of Florida. Of course, I want to see your Canes, see how they do. I think they're going to be building off of what they did last year, 10-3.
Hopefully.
But, man, I was just even kind of looking at their numbers. During their 10-game win streak last year, their offense was averaging 442 yards. I'll give them that because I hate when they do the .9. But then when they played Pitt, Clemson, and Wisconsin, it dropped to 274.
That explains the losses, doesn't it?
Gosh, man, that's just wow. Pin that on the offense, man.
Watching that game against Pittsburgh to this day, now that you brought it up, watching that game is what was one of the worst, most frustrating, helpless experiences of my college football watching life. It really was.
I was watching on my phone, the back of an Uber in Ann Arbor, getting ready to go to a Michigan game, but I was just like, I couldn't. It was just one of those games you never know. That's a frustrating thing about football. You got a team with momentum, and then all of a sudden, this different team takes the field, and you're like, who are these guys?
So frustrating. You're just waiting for that moment to okay, now they're going to take over and win, and it just never came.
I think that might have been the same weekend that I was watching my Ohio State Buckeyes play Iowa. Same thing. I was just like, it was a baffling weekend.
Oh, no, that was...
Remember when Iowa scored 55?
Yes.
Was that the same weekend? Because I was at a Michigan game for that. I was at Michigan, Minnesota.
It wasn't
that
the
weekend.
same.
No, it wasn't the same weekend. You're right.
That was the weekend that Miami was playing Notre Dame, I believe. Because I was at that game. I was covering that game for 640, actually. I remember watching it up in the press box and be like, wow, what is going on with Iowa and Ohio State?
There's nothing worse when you have your team and you're out there and you're just like, I don't get this, man. What is going on? I mean, it wasn't a great Pitt team. My Buckeye team was not playing a good Hawkeye team. He's like, I don't know who these people are.
Yeah, that Pitt game was the day after Thanksgiving. I believe that was the Black Friday game. It was the last season.
Yeah, I think I was
up
there for the Ohio State. I don't know. Maybe it was up. Yeah, I think I was up there for the Ohio State.
It must
game.
have been. Yeah, that was the last weekend.
Yeah, that's when it was.
Man.
Mark Schlabach has come up with his most watchable teams in college football.
Okay.
And he's got some from the state of Florida. If you had to guess, the Canes are in there. Number 7, he put them on the list.
Okay, so it kind of almost matches their AP ranking at number 8.
Well, he loves Florida schools. Actually, he's got pretty much all of them in there. His top team, number 4, he's got Florida State. Most watchable teams in college football. And I don't get that. Aside from the fact that they've got a new coach, they got Francois back at quarterback. You've got Cam Akers, a good running back. I don't know why you're intrigued to watch that.
Yeah, I feel like that them and Florida State, Miami and Florida State should kind of switch spots there.
Well, I mean,
even in the top 10, I'm not really sure why they're not that intriguing.
I'm more intrigued to watch your Canes than I am Florida State. It's not any kind of bias. It's just a little bit more, but not a lot. And to be honest with you, I'm not. There are some teams that, I just can't wait to see how they're going to respond. Some of them I agree with, but that one I don't. I mean, honestly, a team that didn't make his list, UCF. They got a new coach. I really want to see what they do. How much did Scott Frost mean to that UCF team?
Yeah, I would have put them in there.
Yeah, I would put them above both Florida State and Miami.
Me too.
The only team that, I guess I want to see, but you kind of know what you're going to get is FAU. He's got FAU at number 6 for the most watchable team in college football.
It's so funny because they're not even going to be on TV that much. Now, they are on TV more than ever this year.
I think they got 3 nationally televised games.
It's the most they've ever had.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, it's the, the effect of Lane Kiffin. They've got out-of-state applications up 35% in 1 year.
It's amazing.
And the only thing they've done different is Lane Kiffin.
That's right.
People care. FAU, the reason why I want to see Charlie Weiss Jr.
Mm-hmm.
He's the youngest offensive coordinator. You know who his dad is, the older Charlie Weiss. That fascinates me. I still don't really even know. And Lane Kiffin is still playing that cat and mouse game about who his starting quarterback's going to be, DeAndre Johnson or Chris Robinson.
Still. When it's Thursday. Kevin's 2 days away.
I know, and you still got that Rafe Peavy, and he's even, kind of alluded that maybe he would rotate all three. So, yeah, FAU's probably the team I still want to see the most because even though you kind of know what you're going to get offensively, I think they got a lot of questions. And that defense is supposed to be, even better than the offense this year.
No, they are intriguing. Obviously, like you said, because of Charlie Weiss Jr. Lane Kiffin, of course, is always intriguing.
Yeah.
That's why we love having him on the show. Mm-hmm. And then, Devin Singletary with his Heisman candidacy going on. Can they kind of repeat what they did last year? There's a lot of intriguing things with FAU. They belong on that list.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'd say they got some good stuff I want to check out. If it breaks down, when it comes to Florida schools, most watchable teams in college football, Mark Schlabach does not know what he's talking about. His list is bunk, but he's got Florida State at 4, FAU at 6, Miami at 7, and the Gators at 9. Honestly, maybe I take that back. I might want to see what the Gators have more than any team that's on here.
It is an interesting scenario for them this year. And 4 Florida schools out of all of college football in the top 10.
Yeah.
There's 4 Florida schools.
They've got some great storylines. The Gators, they've had 4+ losses in 5 straight seasons. But they did go to the SEC title in 2015-2016. So they've got some players. They got Felipe Franks, who I don't necessarily love, but he's got a really exciting 5-star recruit coming in that, who knows, maybe 3-4 games into it might get the lead. They got Tyreek Cleveland at receiver. So they got some players, and they've got a guy that knows how to string out offense.
Are they entertaining, though? You
never say that about their offense, but now with Dan Mullen, I think they will be. Okay. Keep in mind, you've got the guy who won 2 national championships with them. They had a pretty solid, fun offense with Tebow. Now they don't have Tebow, but They do have the guy calling the plays. It's going to be a similar style offense. Okay. I think for once you're going to say that's why, to me, except put the Gators number 1 team I want to watch. I'm most intrigued by. Yeah,
out of all college football or in Florida?
No, in Florida.
Okay,
but they're up there. They probably make my top 10. That's the one I do agree with. That I think is going to be pretty fascinating to see. Other ones he's got up there, he's got Clemson at number 1. Unbelievable defensive line, but otherwise they're going to look like the same Clemson.
They score. They have a lot of talent on defense. So obviously, yes, they're going to be very entertaining to watch and intriguing at the same time. But I just feel like it's an easy giveaway to put them 1.
He's got Michigan at 2. The only reason why I would say yes and defend that, Michigan is really kind of boring to watch, but they got a great defense. They got Shea Patterson. They've got a transfer quarterback. They might finally get that piece together. They did lose a big receiver, but I think it's just to see because they got a gauntlet in the Big Ten East they got to go through, and Michigan has lost 16 consecutive road games against ranked opponents. Man. They got to go to South Bend this weekend, and the last time they won against a ranked opponent was number 2 Notre Dame in South Bend in 2006, 12 years ago.
It's been that long.
Yeah, and I think if Harbaugh doesn't string it together, so he's playing for his ass every single week.
Sure.
That's why Michigan is fascinating to watch.
This is it for him, right? This is do or die season for Harbaugh.
In Ann Arbor, when I'm up there a good couple times a year, just hearing people 1-5 against your rivals. He's got to do something this year. So he is playing for his life every single week, and it's going to be a tough gauntlet of games to go through when, he's got to go through Michigan State, Penn State, Ohio State. I don't know. I think they also have maybe Wisconsin in that lineup as well.
They have, obviously, Notre Dame on Saturday, which I'm so happy to see that matchup again, right? It's been a few years since we got to see that, so that's going to be fun. And then they have a little bit of a break. They play, it looks like, the Broncos. Is that
probably Western Michigan?
Yes, Western Michigan. Yeah. They have SMU, Maryland. So they have 3 games in between Notre Dame, and then obviously Ohio State at the end of the season. So
they got some tough games. Yeah, when they get into Big Ten East, they got some tough games, and it's that out of conference West. Who do they have? Is that Wisconsin that they have on there? I think they do.
I believe they do. Yeah, I'm trying to find the whole thing here.
So it's not going to be easy.
Does he even get a chance? I'm going to throw this out here. Okay. If Michigan loses to Notre Dame, not only loses, but say they lose by 3 touchdowns, is he on the hot seat after game 1 to where they're actually thinking about
if they lose by 3 touchdowns? There's no way that happens.
Does he make it?
Because you got Devin Wimbush in Notre Dame that I don't love. They've got a great defense. Their defense is not going to do that unless it's just a special teams and the offense is like fumbling the ball in the end zone. I can't see that happening.
Listen to the rest of the schedule. October 13th. Wisconsin at home. The next week at Michigan State. The next week Penn State at home. And then 2 games in between before they face Ohio State.
It's brutal.
Wow.
It's brutal. That's why I agree with that. I do want to see Texas A&M. I would put up there too. I want to see how they're going to do. They're recruiting very well.
Jimbo, his first year.
How's Jimbo going to do at Texas A&M? So yeah, that's the ones he's got. And he's got Tennessee at number 10, which nobody can figure that out. I mean, and they listen to their schedule though. They do play Florida, Georgia, Auburn, Alabama, South Carolina in consecutive weeks.
Oh,
so that is maybe why they made it, but that's going to be interesting to watch.
Ouch! I mean, they are at least on average of a 10-point underdog in all of those games.
Yeah,
I mean they will be more, but that's an average.
They got Jeremy Pruitt in there, first-year coach. They're going to get destroyed a lot. So I don't know why you care to watch that bloodbath, but I don't know why you put them in the top 10 for most watchable, but they're there.
The game against West Virginia on Saturday could be interesting. But other than that, it's going to be a rough go.
Possibly. Yeah, that could be interesting. You could see Will Greer. Gator fans definitely remember him from a couple years ago.
Oh, it's all back, man, finally.
Huge game coming up. High school football in South Florida tonight. We'll let you know that. And what are the Marlins going to do to try to trick you to go into games next year? We'll let you know next.
Get Kevin's other show whenever the hell you want on YouTube and at 640thehurricane.com.
I tell you, man, the high school schedule started strong in week 1. And then the matchups that you had, I couldn't even believe them. Like going, oh my gosh, man. It was like, high school football is just like they've got it all out of their system, but they've got another strong matchup, and it's starting early tonight. You've got, in Palm Beach County, at least according to the Sun-Sentinel, number 1 ranked Dwyer traveling to play number 2 Atlantic. That is going down tonight.
Gosh, that one's tonight?
That is tonight.
Good gracious.
That is going down. That probably is the game of the year for Palm Beach County, at least.
Yeah, and this early, I mean, look, it's not even September yet. I know we're a couple days away, but...
Yeah, man, arguably you're talking about your game of the year tonight. Dwyer last week, they started off, they had offensive issues, it looked like, when they played the exhibition game against Palm Beach Central, down 5-3 in the fourth quarter before the shooting broke out. They beat Park Vista last week 40-0.
That was a good win for them.
Yeah, so the defense looked stout for Dwyer. The big question's the offense, but it looked like they answered some questions last week. Atlantic beat Palm Beach Central last week. They rebounded in their exhibition. They lost to Miami Central and pretty badly at home. So that made them look a little suspect. But the Sun-Sentinel still, they're not taking that into consideration, but it definitely counts. Tonight, that is a game to go check out, Dwyer at Atlantic.
That's a monster game, man. I mean, we talked about, with college football, all the games are coming up this weekend, like, in Auburn and Washington and things like that, where it could decide the playoffs later on in the year. That's a game in high school football that could really, deciding things in November.
Yeah, if you separate, honestly, you take high school, college, and pro, exhibition, it's still preseason NFL. That doesn't count. College. The two biggest games this weekend, I think, without a doubt, are Michigan-Notre Dame and this Dwyer-Atlantic game.
Those as far as the two different...
if you just care about pure-out football and what it means to seasons, those are the two top games.
I mean, I do throw Auburn and Washington in there because... That has huge implications for the playoff.
That's big.
It really does. 3 versus 6, 2 different conferences.
Rank those games. I even throw in the high school in the mix.
All right.
I think it's because high school. I think you can get a little bit of forgiveness and still slide in. I think Michigan Notre Dame in importance is number 1. Then I would put that Washington Auburn is important because if Washington loses, not only Washington done, but the Pac-12 is done.
Right. I mean, because you're going to depend on Stanford, Utah. I mean, there's just not enough for them to go through.
Okay, that's your second most important game to care about this weekend. Then I think it's going to be this Dwyer-Atlantic game. Then I'm going to put your Canes and LSU.
Okay, so that's 4. I was wondering if we were including them or was this just like a Saturday, Thursday, Friday
I'm throwing out just like the most watchable, most important. Like if you want to say, if you like all phases.
On this entire opening.
High school, college, pro. If you like it all, the most important games in the order in which you need to give them love.
Dolphins, Falcons, that doesn't make your list.
No, my gosh, no. I mean, we really, honestly, we threw a Hail Mary on trying to make that game important.
We did try.
Segment. Yeah.
I think we did a pretty good job, though.
I didn't even believe what I was saying. So,
we did what we could. It sounded very intriguing.
Yeah. That's probably the order I would put. And then number 5, probably Florida State, Virginia Tech.
Yeah, I was thinking about that one, too.
That's my top 5, I think, in order of what I care.
Man, see, and I don't want to forget FAU and Oklahoma as well. There's a lot of good ones.
Oh,
There's a lot of good ones.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna bump the Florida State one for that.
Okay.
Because I want to see it. Because I think FAU. I think they're gonna get owned like you might expect. I think it's gonna be about a 14-point spread.
It's 21. As far as the actual betting spread, it's
That's
at
why I would
21
take
right
it.
now, yeah.
I would take the 20.
I like FAU plus the
I
points.
would take FAU plus the points. Yeah, my projection 14-17. I think is what they'll lose by.
I could see that.
I think it's slam dunk Oklahoma wins. But yeah, I put that in the top 5. I want to see that. So yeah, tonight high school wise, you got Dwyer at Atlantic. You've got Wellington that the Sun Sentinels got at number 5. They are going to be playing at Vero Beach. Vero Beach, of course, not rated for Palm Beach County, but Vero Beach last week, man, they went and beat the defending 7A champs.
Right.
In Viera, right? Wait, no, not Viera. Vero beat. Is it Viera?
Was it Vera or Venice?
Venice.
It was Venice.
Thank you.
Yes.
Too many V's in there.
It's a lot. And they all sound alike.
Vero, Venice, Viera. I'm like going, yeah.
It's like a tongue twister.
Yeah. Venice is a team that knocked Aquinas out last year. And I think they beat them pretty good by a couple touchdowns.
Vero's one of those, not Venice. Vero was one of those surprising teams so far. I mean, I know the season just started.
Vero's always solid, but yeah, that'll be interesting. So Wellington, ranked number 5 in Palm Beach County. They beat Royal Palm last week, but hopefully they give them a game. And, Wellington's got some good receivers.
It's a great game.
Yeah, that's a really good game in Vero Beach tonight to check out. That's all tonight. You got Park Vista traveling to West Boca. Definitely a watchable game there. And Miami Ferguson is going to be playing at Palm Beach Central.
Man.
Palm Beach Central is number 3 in the county, according to Sun Sentinel. They lost to Atlantic last week.
I mean, at this point, just for tonight, if you could rank things tonight, you put all the high school games 1, 2, or 3.
Yeah.
Big Brother 4, and then Dolphins 5. Just because of lack of choices, Dolphins go number 5.
Yeah, you got some good stuff tonight to even check out. Yeah, quick little shout out, and some love to Palm Beach Lakes. The Ram Regiment Band is one of 8 bands selected to play in the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans on January 1st.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so that's kind of a cool thing for them. So I want to give them a quick shout out. The Marlins, boy, they really got owned last night. And what was a promising game? If you watched, 6 innings of the game last night, you're going, hey, man, look at the Marlins against the Red Sox. Pretty good.
Yeah, you thought they could sneak one away there.
Yeah, they were up 5-3. And then the 7th inning happens. And they give up 11 runs last night to the Red Sox in Boston to lose 14-6. Here's Donnie Baseball talking about it.
I'm not quite sure how to explain it. It was just one of those nights that, nothing worked.
Oh, there you go.
Dude, you're manager of the Marlins, Donnie Baseball.
He doesn't know how to explain it.
You can't be surprised. You can't. All you have to do is just be like, we're the Marlins. When they ask, be like, hey, that collapsed. We're the Marlins. That is your 3-word answer to everything bad you do.
And that should be their motto, and it's not a good thing.
No, it's not a good thing, but I mean, it's an
motto.
easy way to get out of your press conference is what happened, dude. We're the Marlins.
The Marlins.
Red Sox, they increased their lead 7.5. If you're a Yankees fan, Yankees, I don't know what's going on with them, man. They lost to the White Sox again.
2 games in a row.
2 out of 3 they've dropped so far to the White Sox in this series. So what are the Marlins going to do now? Because, they can't. They're not going to pay players. They're not going to be good. So they got a couple gimmicks for you.
I like how you just threw those other things out there.
Yeah. What they're going to do, they want to do a section in right field. They're going to put you out in right field where, okay, I guess, does anybody want to sit? They're going to lower season ticket prices starting at $8 a game. And they're going to throw in our Spanish flair, Comunidad 305.
Nice.
Where they're going to encourage you to bring musical instruments, flags, and more. They got that idea from watching the World Baseball Classic. Wow. Said, let's put a little Spanish flair in this. And if you got a kid in travel sports and you play a Spanish team, oh my gosh, man. My daughter, the first time they play the Miami Wildcats in softball, and the parents have milk jugs with coins in them, and they're banging tambourines. And our girls from Palm Beach County are going, what's going on?
Don't forget the frying pans, too.
It's very intimidating.
Yeah.
So the Marlins are going to add that to the mix.
Nice.
They
I like it.
also are going to start doing DJs, giveaways, fireworks.
Right.
I mean, they're throwing everything out. They're going to do Little Havana Friday nights. Party before dark on Saturdays.
Yeah.
Sunday fun day.
Woo!
They're going to actually move the Saturday games back to 6:10 so you can go watch a Marlins game and then you can go dance your ass off on South Beach.
Sounds fun. Let's go, man. $8 a ticket for the season.
Yeah, we said that. I mean, honestly, that's what it is. You got to make the fan experience better, make the ticket prices cheaper. I applaud this. As much as I bag on the team, I like this. They're going to also start doing standing room only sections with high top bars at a lower price. That get me there. I mean, I'm not necessarily watching the game, but I'm chilling out with some friends if it's affordable, and I'm like, okay, baseball's going. That's why I do spring training.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean,
all the time.
That's basically what it is.
Go just to drink and hang out. If they make this that way for Marlins Park, all right.
They are doing what they have to do to make the experience of going to a Marlins game sound fun, enjoyable, and desirable.
Yeah.
Because I think those are the three things they probably sat down in their meeting and said, okay, what can we do to make people want to come to these games?
We got so much vacancy. Why not slash the ticket price? I've said that. Add a little bit more life to it because it's stale. There's just no ambiance in that stadium at all, especially with the roof closed.
I mean, it would help if they had a winning product on the field.
It
That'd
does,
be the best thing.
but that ain't happening,
but
dude.
until that happens,
I mean, and we're ways away. It's not happening anytime soon.
Yeah,
and we don't know if it'll ever happen. So, I mean, you got to at least improve this. This is the one part of this whole story that I think is going to be a complete fail. They're going to start holding watch parties for away games. They're going to be doing one at Tarpon Bend. I think this actually happened last night, so I don't know what the crowd was. They claimed when the story came out that 400 people at RSVP, but there's no way 400 people showed up to Tarpon Bend and Coral Gables. I'm sorry.
That's like a tenth of what shows up for the games. You're telling me that that's what's showing up to a watch party?
No way. They say if it goes well, they'll have more in the future. But I mean, if people aren't going to come see you in Marlins Park, why are they going to come to a watch party?
Yeah, that's rough, man.
To watch you lose. And I mean, and they came out last night to see what you did, giving up 11 runs in the 7th inning. So I don't know. I like some of the other stuff, so I do applaud some of it. It'd be interesting to see what they can do. Dead last in attendance.
Yes, they are. So they had to do something. I like the ideas.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Coming up here in a couple of minutes, talk a little bit about U.S. Open. What they've done. They've backpedaled a little bit going on. Serena Williams, some commentary about that. And LeBron also making some interesting social comments as well. We'll tell you what he had to say next.
Can't wait to break down last night's game? Yeah, not. It's Kevin's Other Show on 640 The Hurricane.
Women's tennis looked really stupid the last couple of days. Just, I don't even understand, like, what they've been doing here. You know, they came out, and you had the story the other day with the French Open, getting all over Serena Williams for the catsuit thing that she wore.
Right.
And then people have been digging and saying, wait, why is this? Why are you doing this? You know, you're doing this whole thing where you said it's a band. You can't wear these like catsuits. And then they pulled out, I saw on Twitter today, like somebody pulled out this white chick wearing a white catsuit. Like, what's the difference? I mean, tell me this isn't like and apparently, you know, they got down on that girl too, and she got in trouble. I mean, to be fair, but you know, it just seems like, okay, why are we so worried about what they wear? It's silly. And you know, I guess you could argue golf has got this. Think what it you know, when, you know, you're doing some stuff. Wimbledon, you got to wear white.
Right.
You know, and I guess to some extent, you know, golf does it a little bit as well. You know, so then Serena wore that ruffled tutu at the U.S. Open on Monday night.
That's right.
Yeah, and then the U.S. Open had a little bit of a problem because there's this one chick that got a code violation. She removed her shirt. It was on backwards. She just wanted to, like, turn it around. She had a sports bra on. She takes off her shirt, flips it around, and, you know, they penalize her for it. And they say, look, guys all the time are taking their shirts off. So, I mean, she's got a sports bra on, too.
I mean, yeah, it's fair. And it's not like she had, like, you know, her chest hanging out and everything with a see-through bra. I mean, it was a pretty big sports bra. So it was covering, like, half her body as well.
So women's tennis, you know, people have thrown out accusations over the last couple of days. Racist, sexist, this, that. So they're trying to save some face on some of these things. The U.S. Open just released a statement. They said all players can change their shirts when sitting in the player chair. This is not considered a code violation. So that's how they're trying to save face, saying, okay, when you see Djokovic and he's sitting over there with his shirt off, it's because he's sitting there with his shirt off. So that's what they're trying to say the difference. If she would have gone and sat down and then she would have, like, flipped her shirt around, then that's fair. But that's stupid, isn't it?
I mean, they did it so quickly.
You got to go and sit to be able to change your shirt?
They called it so quickly, too. I mean, she just changed her shirt real quick, standing there, and they called it on her so quick. It was like,
yeah,
what are you doing?
Well, if you're not watching, just to let you know, it looks like Serena and Venus going to be facing off. Yesterday, both Williams sisters won their second-round matches, which means they're going to face each other tomorrow in the third round.
I'm pretty sure this is the earliest they've ever done it, too. I mean, I don't remember them ever facing each other in the third. It's always, in the semifinals or in the championship.
Typically, yeah. They've met 5 times before in the U.S. Open. Serena won 3 times to Venus's 2.
This is always fun, though. I mean, right? This is always something we like to see with them.
You'd rather see them in the final, but yeah, I mean, you'll take it.
Yeah, in the later stages of their career now. I mean, quite frankly, I'm surprised Venus is even still playing, which, I mean, good for her.
No, absolutely.
I'm glad she is.
I saw her, they did the debut where she has done her V-Star interiors, and they did the skyboxes at Roger Dean Stadium. I went there as they kind of like debuted that. For the first time, got to stand next to her. She's taller than me. I'm 6 foot.
She is tall, right?
She's very tall.
Huh.
Very tall. I like that. That blew me away. I knew she was tall. Figured she'd probably be about my height. I'd say she might have had 2 inches on me.
Really?
Seriously. Very tall.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that part was kind of...
She always looked tall. You can't. It's so hard to tell, though. I mean, like you said, until you meet them in person, it's so hard to tell on TV.
Mm-hmm.
How about that?
Did you see LeBron James debut on HBO the other night? I think it was on after Hard Knocks, right?
It was on, I think it was on right before.
I tried to watch it on demand. I couldn't get it to work for whatever reason. I haven't had a chance to go watch it, but I do want to watch it. And I like what's going on here. LeBron had taken some heat. There was some chick on Fox News or something like that did that whole shut up and dribble kind of thing. And I think that kind of, antagonized him to say, you know what, I'm actually going to do the exact opposite. I think that athletes should have a voice. They have before. I mean, going all the way back, Cassius Clay and Muhammad Ali, I mean, they are just figures. And so some people want to know. And I think that they can do some good. And I got to tell you, I really like what LeBron is doing because he's talking honestly about race and saying some things that I think people need to hear. And I like how candid he's being. He was talking about, because if when he went to school in Akron, he went to a private school with, he and his friends, his crew that he grew up with, and they're all black, and they're going to a predominantly white school to play basketball to win them a state championship. And, they were just crushing everybody. And LeBron has said that, hey, it took me a while to adjust to it. I was like, I'm not, messing around with white people. That was my initial thought to white America. He said, being brought up in the black community, they said, hey, whites don't want anything that's good for you. So I'm going to the school. I'm just going to play ball. That's it. I don't want anything to do with white people. And then he said, as we go there and I start to make friends and all kind of stuff, my attitude starts to change. I start to see what's different, which to me is the core of everything that's happening with race in this country, and why I think it's so great now more than ever. You're seeing interracial couples in TV and movies. I see it more in society. And man, we do, man. We really do mimic what we see on TV. And so when they do make those complaints about that, I don't think they're being petty and be like, just, shut up, who cares? No, I think it is really important for our society to see that kind of stuff. And I think it's important for LeBron James to be speaking out and talking candidly about this too, and being so honest. To say, look, when I was heading into a white environment, I'm like, look, I was taught not to trust white people. But then he says, hey, when I got in there and kind of started to learn, I started to realize, man, we got a lot more in common than we do that divides us.
Yeah.
I see that more than ever. And you can't be held accountable if you grew up. Look, I grew up in white America. I grew up around all white people. Oddly enough, there was, I think, one black kid in our town. And oddly enough, he probably was the biggest redneck that we hung out with. And it was weird because to the point, I don't think anybody even saw him as black.
Right.
The dude was like dipping and like he talked like this. And I'm like, and his name was Antoine. It was the weirdest thing.
That's funny. But again, it was, you were around him and you weren't thinking anything different of him just because of the color of his skin.
But, I remember when I got out of small town white America like that, and I started to see so many black people, you're just like, wow. And it was scary because, you see a lot of the stereotypes and a lot of those things are in your mind and you're apprehensive. Like LeBron felt being black going to white America, me being white going into cities which I'd never really been in before, and being around more of a diverse population. Yeah, there were parts where I was apprehensive. I definitely noticed. I was like, okay, they're black. Like, what's going to happen? And that happened. So I like that LeBron was talking so candidly about that. I think we should be able to admit that. But then tear down that barrier and say, okay, well, let's hang out.
Yeah.
Let's get to know each other.
Yeah, and I'm not one who defends LeBron like 100% of the time. Trust me, I'm not. But in this case, I hope people don't get the wrong message from this, and that I don't want people to take away from this statement and say, oh, look, LeBron's admitting he's racist. No, he's not. What he's saying is that we should all look within ourselves and say, where did I come from? How was I brought up? What ideas and misconceptions did I have about a person or a race or an orientation or whatever? And think to ourselves, okay, why am I thinking this and how can I change it? And what he's saying is basically, I was in a certain point in my life where I looked a certain way at white people, and then I didn't realize how untrue it was until I got around white people.
I think that's normal. I really do. And I think hopefully what this teaches us, and really what is true, your skin color has nothing to do with what is on the inside at all.
Of course.
And there's a show that I watch. It's called Power. And there's a guy that's on there. He's a white guy that grew up. All of his friends were black. He talks like he's black. Everything you know. His culture is black culture.
Right.
Because that's what he grew up in. It's kind of like my boy Antoine that I grew up with. Probably the biggest redneck I hung out with. His skin was black, but if you talk to him, if you listen to him, if you checked out the music he listened to, he was just a product of his culture and of his environment. Has nothing to do with your skin color.
And I think that's what he's getting at here is that is the stereotypes. To be so careful with how we come up with stereotypes, because so many times in our lives, stereotypes become our reality. And they're just not. And that's where a lot of us go wrong, in that we start thinking one way about a certain group of people until you really get to know them. You're like, oh, wait. Why was I thinking those things? That's pretty stupid. And I think that's what he's getting at here. He's trying to tell everybody, hey, open your eyes. Get out of your bubble, get out of your shell, and actually go out into the world and see that all your misconceptions are just that. They are misconceptions.
Yeah, and I think you're going to be more of a product of your environment, what you grew up in, more than the product of your skin color. I hope to see that change a lot more. And LeBron's saying, my popularity has taken a hit. But I think the other important thing about this too, you should be able to talk candidly about it. Yeah. When you don't have hate in your tone with how you're speaking of someone from a different race, you shouldn't be called the ist. It shouldn't be racist. My conversation is racial, but it's not racist.
There's a big difference.
There is a massive difference for that. And so I completely applaud LeBron for what he's doing. He's putting his neck out there. It's obviously costing him, but I hope people will just listen. Take some time. Maybe we can actually get somewhere. And I think athletes can drive the bus in that direction.
Absolutely. And they should be able to if they want to. If they find it important to themselves to say those things, then whether you agree with them or not, at least
just listen.
Credit.
Let the guy talk before you want to label him anything else.
And what's important to say, too, is that he's talking to everybody.
Absolutely.
He's talking to everybody. He's not talking to white people or black people. He's talking to everybody who's willing to listen and say, what am I doing? Am I thinking one way or the other here?
I really think the music, the sports, the movies, and the culture that we have in America can bring us together as a people, all races. And I think LeBron's doing a great job with that. And so I applaud him for it. You want to comment to us? You can on our Twitter. Check out Kevin's other show. We do a YouTube show, too. We post it up on the KVJ show. And we've also got a podcast. You can go and subscribe. It'll be there for you every single day. No commercials. You can zip right through it in just 40, 45 minutes. So give it a listen whenever you got a chance. You can't hear us live on 640 The Hurricane at Kevin's other show.
You listened to him on the KVJ show for years. Every time he tried to talk sports, he'd get shut down. After years of begging, we finally gave in. Brought to you by Wellington Anti-Aging. Low T? Go to WellingtonAntiAging.com. And by Bremen Motor Cars in West Palm Beach. A world-class experience. Shop BremenPorsche.com now. It's Kevin's other show on 640 The Hurricane.